ABC suspended Jimmy Kimmel after government pressure from the FCC, but the move now has ABC and its parent company Disney in crisis. So first, let me tell you tonight, we have new reporting and some special guests on the internal decision-making there, a company that has caved but may yet change gears again. Meanwhile, this Kimmel suspension has galvanized this national debate about Trump's effort to censor and silence critics and the press. And up top, I can tell you there is broad evidence of a broad plot here. Donald Trump's attacks, threats, and lawsuits against a whole range of outlets, speakers, and critics. And right now, tonight, he ends this week with a fresh loss. There's that new, unusual lawsuit he filed against the New York Times, basically like Kimmel, in effect, because he didn't appreciate or agree with their coverage of him, their criticism. Well, today, a federal judge tossed that entire claimed $15 billion suit, noting it's decidedly improper and impermissible in its claims against the newspaper's First Amendment protected reporting. Now, Trump has lost. The suit is tossed. He can still respond in court. He can try to refile something that would, unlike this case, clear the very low hurdle of what is just a permissible suit. The case is technically separate from ABC, but clearly is the same playbook. And the Times fighting and winning quickly hangs over all of this tonight because it's the same playbook. And top Republicans also are not defending everything Trump is doing, as it's all cast in the open this week. A Republican senator warning the censorship effort should make everyone careful about any lines we cross in diminishing free speech. Democrats are united against it, speaking out, looking at ways they can deal with this, and they view it as a five-alarm fire and watershed fight. So that's just some of the initial reaction. There is also the law here, and we will continue to remind you of the law, exercising our free speech reporting and factual efforts within a whole national debate about what is factual and what is the law, because it's a likely violation of the First Amendment to pressure private companies to silence their views. The First Amendment prohibits the government from abridging free speech and free exercise of the press rights. And so that's from the beginning. Of all the things that have changed, that is supposed to held steady. And the Supreme Court has held that for a very long time. Just last year, it reaffirmed a core holding that government officials cannot coerce private parties in order to punish or suppress views the government disfavors, which is literally the censorship agenda that Trump and his FCC chief Carr have been pursuing. So the thing they're doing is currently illegal, unlawful, unconstitutional. Now, there's no split here on this issue in the court, which also makes this a stronger precedent, different from, for example, cases you followed where it's 5-4 and then maybe the court changes and a couple of years later it's 4-5, right? It changes. Well, let me show you. All 9 justices are for that ruling. You know, when we show you breaking coverage and we have the justices against and dissent, you'll notice that's blank. That's accurate because all 9 said the government cannot coerce businesses or media outlets, et cetera. You can't coerce them to suppress or change views. That's obviously against free speech in the First Amendment. The same case held, the First Amendment prohibits the government from relying on the threat of invoking legal sanctions and other means of coercion. For example, let's say you threaten it, but you haven't done it yet. That also is illegal if it's to achieve suppressing disfavored speech. So if Trump and Carr disfavor Jimmy Kimmel's criticism and make threats for it, that's unconstitutional. Again, who agrees with that? All 9 current justices, including, as you know, many appointed by Trump. So this is a big point here as we wrap up the week, as Trump loses in court over a different case against a different media outlet. These are the justices who would, of course, ultimately rule on any challenge to the FCC allegedly shaking down networks like ABC and Disney. But there's a big if. That would be if Disney and ABC fought this in court. If they stood up to the pressure like the New York Times is doing, like many citizens are doing. They have lawyers on retainer. They have billions of dollars. But so far, even though this is the court that awaits them, 9-0 against exactly the type of censorship that Trump and Carr are doing, but so far they've been giving in. rushing to surrender. Here's how the nonpartisan AP puts it, what's going on right now in your country. Trump's moves against media outlets mirror authoritarian approaches to silencing dissent. It's happening here now. There is pushback. There is even a court standing by that might very well side against that authoritarian effort, but this is happening now. Now, there's an acclaimed expert on authoritarianism, Timothy Snyder. He's warned that with Trump, this is exactly what you have to face, and cautioned against obeying in advance, even as some powerful people and companies appear to be doing that. Then others are speaking out. And it is easy sometimes for people to kind of look away and say, well, I don't know if this concerns me, or isn't that just entertainment, or isn't that just one channel? But free speech is tested in the breach. Whether it is a journalist or a dissident, a politician or a comedian, a musician, or someone doing interpretive dance that some autocrat doesn't like. And remember, we don't always get to pick the person. It is interesting that Ted Cruz is speaking out against Jimmy Kimmel, even though Jimmy Kimmel has obviously made jokes about Ted Cruz and plenty of other politicians in both parties. But that shows some level of intellectual consistency on this issue. It doesn't really matter whether you like Jimmy Kimmel or whether you ever watched his program. And when you look around, a lot of other people who weigh in with free speech, whether you think it's funny or not, or you agree with their politics or not, across late night, we are seeing them stand up and speaking the way they do about this alleged cowardice of those already bowing to Trump's censorship.
Jimmy Kimmel was suspended by ABC after pressure from the FCC, leaving everyone thinking WTF.
We have another fun, hilarious, administration-compliant show
that I've always admired and respected Mr. Trump.
If you felt a little off these past couple of days, it's probably because our great father has not been home.
And if you've ever seen me say anything negative about him, that's just AI.
President Trump is
making America great again.
Is Donald Trump stifling free speech?
Of course not, John.
All they do is hit Trump. They're licensed. They're not allowed to do that.
Yes, they are. There's a reason free speech is in the very First Amendment. It stands above all others. You might even say it's
The ultimate.
That's some of what we heard there. And you'll notice the darker jokes are about what it would be like if we continue down this road, if Trump gets away with this. And remember whose voice you didn't hear in that montage? Jimmy Kimmel. Now, some Americans are already pushing back.
Disney Plus, yeah, y'all could go ahead, hit the road, Jack.
That was your mistake, getting scared by the FCC.
Not Disney Plus, not a Disney cruise, not Disneyland, not Disney World.
I found out that there's a protest at Disney headquarters and I'm going.
Disney Plus and Hulu canceled. Throw you in the bin.
We will not be there with Mickey and Minnie.
ABC and Disney executives now scrambling over their rush decision Wednesday to give in to the government, top brass, even engaging in talks to get Kimmel back on the air. That is a very different tone from Wednesday when they rushed to respond to the FCC threats and made a point of announcing that he was going to be benched basically for the long haul. They didn't say it was a week or 2 weeks. They just sort of said, well, indefinitely. This whole thing on the ABC Disney side goes all the way up to the Disney chief, Bob Iger. The buck stops with this man. He is a powerful man. He controls Disney and has done that for many years in and out of that role. And right now, his legacy is being written more for his business acumen, which is widely praised, his ability to manage talent. I could just tell you quite honestly, this is a person who people in news and media think of as very smart and powerful. But right now, a lot of people who know free speech in the First Amendment, a lot of people who work with Jimmy Kimmel, a lot of people from Ted Cruz out to liberal lawyers say he is overseeing the wrong decision and direction. Instead of doing what the New York Times did and standing up for his work and his people, he appears to be co-signing what for now is an effort to allow the government to silence critics. We have more reporting on Mr. Iger and that aspect of this coming up later this hour with some very special experts. As for the New York Times editorial board, which of course is separate than the newsroom and separate than the lawyers, but they're all on the same page about the First Amendment, they note today the ability to disagree with other people on raw, difficult issues without fear of repression is the essence of American freedom. That freedom is under attack. And this is the way we live now. We do live in a capitalist country. We know that people consume media through private companies. And we know that those companies do care about the bottom line and live in a regulated environment. But the Trump second term is serving up a level of autocratic challenge that we didn't always face in the first, where we have to decide as a country, as people, and those people involved in running certain companies have to decide where the line is. Can you uphold the First Amendment? And do you have what some would call courage, but others would call the basic prudence to look at a Supreme Court that's held 9-0 that the government can't do this to your company and play that out in court and find out if you can win or not? Or do you, as our expert cautioned against, do you obey in advance?